name is Chris, and I'm the host of the Birding Life Youth podcast, the show where we talk to young birders to find out what makes them tick. My first guest is Daniel Engelbrecht, and I'm so excited to hear what he has to say. Stay tuned. My first guest tonight is a guest that we've had on our main podcast before, and I'm very proud that he's my first guest. His name's Daniel Engelbrecht, and he is an amazing birder. I feel bad because I'm older than him, and he's way above. So welcome, Daniel.
Thank you very much for having me, Chris. Thank you. It's really great to be here.
Yeah. When Adam told me that you've got like over 300 species just in the Spring Fling Challenge alone, I was like, I got to get this dude in because he's got like,
sure.
I've got like a third of the birds you've got already.
Yeah. No, great.
Yeah. So if people haven't listened to other podcasts yet, please can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is you do?
Yeah, sure. Well, like I said, my name is Daniel. I live up here in the Limpopo province. So for those of you not from South Africa, that's the northernmost province in South Africa. And I'm based in Polokwane. So fortunately, Polokwane is situated right in the middle of all these great habitats. So we've got savanna, we've got forest, we've got escarpment, we've got absolutely everything. So in terms of birding, it's a fantastic area. And yeah, no, I'm looking forward to chatting a bit more about that.
Cool. So let's start off with the interview, because otherwise we're going to talk too much about birding, about one spot and how I want to be there. And so what are some birds that you've seen recently that has been like amazing to you?
Wow, no, I've been doing quite a lot of birding over the last 2 weeks. I'd say some of the main highlights over the last few weeks have been Paul's fishing owl that was up in the Limpopo River, which was pretty special. Sure. Three-banded courser, African skimmers, bathhawk. So there've been a whole bunch of specials lately. Even this morning we got great sightings of African finfoot. So yeah, it's been really great.
It's like your spotting list is my dream list. I don't know what's going on here. It's like
time to go.
I swear the African finfoot doesn't exist, because people have told me this place is a definite spot. You'll find it. Yeah, I go there and it's like,
oh, tell me about it. Yeah. Tell me about it. No, it took me forever to get one. Wow.
Speaking of bogey birds, you mentioned in the last podcast that your bogey bird is the buff-spotted flufftail. So is it still no other encounters yet?
No, I heard one about 2 weeks ago. Still haven't managed to see one. So still stand strong as my bogey bird.
Yeah. Well done.
It's ridiculous, yeah.
I've only had like a brief glancing of flufftail, and I still can't tell you which one it is for definite. But it was
probably more than I have had. No, that's great.
Cool. So and also speaking about like just passing bird identifications and all that.
Yeah.
What would you say is your most embarrassing bird misidentification? Because I'm sure we've all had them. Like we call it out so confidently, and then it just turns out to be a common bird.
Yep. No, I mean it happens all the time. This morning we were out looking. We were in Venda, which is in the eastern Soutpansberg Mountains, and we were looking for blue-spotted wood doves. And man, I saw this bird, perfect size and everything. And I said, stop. We all stop the car. Everyone gets out. We all looking. And this bird turns around and it's got this yellow vent and it's a darker bulbul. So those things.
I think we've all had that.
They happen all the time, especially darker bulbuls. Those birds trick me. So, I mean, they happen all the time. That was a pretty embarrassing one. That was just this morning. So yeah, still fresh in my memory.
It's so embarrassing because like, you're like, stop, I see something. And then you stop and it's like, okay, never mind, just carry on. It's my embarrassment, just carry on.
It flew away, what can I say?
I think like even myself personally, like so many times going on birding trips, you confidently shout, stop the car. And then when you stop, it's like a rock or something. And you're like, I'm sure I saw it move.
There was a bird there. Yeah.
Yes, yes, it just flew off.
Flew off. Classic, yeah.
So, also, what is your dream bird? What would you say is the bird that you most want to see?
Tough one, eh? There's so many. I mean, if I had to go internationally, I mean, the list is endless. Basically, anything I haven't seen. But I'd say birds of paradise are super high on that list. I'd love to see more toucans. I absolutely love toucans. Toucan barbets. There's just, I mean, the list doesn't end. So internationally, there's a lot, and locally, I'd say buff-spotted flufftail. I just have to get that bird. That's my dream bird at the moment.
I know quite a few people who've seen the buff spotted, and again, it's
So do I.
I swear it's a ghost bird. But
It is.
we must maybe bring you down here. Apparently, there's a very good spot for it. I don't know.
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of international travel, yeah, you've done quite a bit, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I've done a bit of bidding overseas. Yeah.
Okay. And what would you say is your favorite international travel?
Again, it's I mean, it's a tough question. All these countries have got different appeals. I mean, if I look at Australia, I absolutely love birding in Australia. So many endemic families, endemic species. And then you go over into like South America, for example, and then it's just the sheer variety of species. I mean, it's insane. So I suppose each country has its different appeal. But I'd say for me, Australia has been one of the best countries I've visited. I mean, it's really easy to travel in, and the birding's great. Loads of endemics. So I'd say probably Australia's been my best yet.
Nice. And local birding spot? What would you say is your favorite local birding spot?
I love birding in the Lowveld, especially along the escarpment where you know the Lowveld meets the escarpment. Here in Limpopo, that's the ultimate birding for me, even in the whole country. I mean, in one day you can get bat-hawks, you can get skimmers, you can get magpie mannequins, cuckoo hawk. You know, it's just the best birding. It's insane. So yeah, I absolutely love it.
Yeah. I definitely must go out there because I want to see all those birds. I really do.
For sure. Yeah.
So, what are some like really cool facts about birds that you've learned about that you think a lot of people might not know, that you feel everybody should know about it?
Yeah, you know, if I have to think offhand, there's always some interesting ones. We were talking about this in the car today. For example, people always talk about this. There's a South American bird, for those of you don't know, it's called the Hoatzin. And it's got these, when it's an immature bird, it's got almost claws on its wing. And now the Hoatzin is very famous for that. I mean, here in South Africa, even our hardydaw has got those claws on its wing, which is absolutely insane. So, sure. I mean, it's small things like that I think many people don't know, but it's pretty interesting if you think about it. So, yeah.
Yeah. And
that's just one.
And you mentioned in the previous podcast, again, I'm referring a lot back to it because there was so much covered in it. But in your previous podcast, you said one of your heroes is Sir David Attenborough.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I see that he's releasing, or he has released, by the time this podcast comes out, he would have released it already. There's a Netflix special, and it looks like a really awesome one. And
it does, yes.
Have you seen the previews and all that? And what
I have seen the preview. Yeah, no, it looks absolutely amazing. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
What are some of the things you most look forward to?
Oh, I don't know. I just love. I mean, David Attenborough. I mean, who doesn't? But as always, I mean, the filming in those documentaries is absolutely insane. I mean, the camera work and those wildlife shots it's amazing. So that would probably be the main highlight for me. Is just those great captures that these guys get. So, and then I mean, of course, David Attenborough.
So it's always like that thing, you know. There's that they kind of say, if somebody were to narrate your life, who would it be? A lot of people say Morgan Freeman. We'd say Sir David Attenborough. It's like he would just do it awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We can't really have a podcast without talking about the Spring Fling Challenge, and I've alluded to it already. You are currently number one on the list. I don't think it will change by the time this podcast actually comes out. So can you give us some cool tips and tricks on how you managed to find all these awesome species? I mean, like, I look at your species list, I'm like, oh my word, I wish I had that.
No, well, the main thing is, like I say, here in Limpopo, we've got a massive variety of different habitats, you know. So you've got forests, you've got high altitude grasslands, you've got bushveld, you've got this amazing plateau grassland here in Polokwane. So I think the main thing is just you cover as many of these habitats as you can. And over the last month or so, I've been able to get out a lot. So I've covered most of the habitats in Limpopo. And as a result, you get all these awesome species. And I must say, I've had an amazing amount of luck over the last few months. I mean, things like three-banded corsa, which are usually really tough to get, have just, I mean, at Bloberg Nature Reserve, they were everywhere. So it's just amazing things like that, which have just played in really, really nicely at this time. And yeah, like I said, it's just been getting out a lot and birding a lot. So yeah.
Sure. And are there any other like books that you'd say would help you grow as a birder? Like, I mean, besides your field guides, what would you say is a book that's helped you grow as a birder?
I love that book, The Big Year. I mean, I absolutely love it. It's just, it talks a lot about birders, you know, so it's just, you know, it's not so much focused on bird identification and everything, but it's just about birders. And I find it like very relatable and interesting. So yeah, no, I definitely recommend that, giving that a read. And yeah, no, I find it super interesting, that book. Loved it.
Cool. Yeah, I love the movie as well. I can't say I've read the book, to be quite honest. I want to still read it. It's on my to-read list.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a brilliant movie.
It was. I loved it.
I loved it. Another thing, you are a young birder, and I'm pretty sure everybody can see that you are a young birder. There's some people feeling really old now. So what do you think we as the youth can do to actually reach out to our peers and get them into birding as well and into conservation as a result?
Yeah, you know, I think with any young people, I love a bit of, you know, competition. So I think these challenges like the Spring Fling Challenge are absolutely fantastic for getting young birders out there. I mean, it's always great competing against, you know, other young people. And I think birding is a fantastic way of doing that, you know, and you're getting out in the process and seeing all these things. And I think, you know, if you take your friends out birding, naturally there is some interest in that. But I think especially if you take them out on something exciting like a twitch for some rare bird or something, instead of just out to, you know, the local patch just to see what you can find. I think that's the main thing. Do something exciting. And once you've built that initial interest, then, I mean, it just sort of compounds on itself. So yeah, I think that's something we can take.
Sure. And speaking of Twitch again, sorry, this is kind of like a question that I should have asked earlier, but what is one of your most recent failed Twitches your most memorable failed Twitches? Because we have some really awesome stories about successful Twitches, but some really awful ones about bad Twitches.
Yeah.
So what's some of the ones that you got?
Well, I mean, here in Limpopo, one thing we don't have a lot of is water. So when we get rare waders, it's usually, I mean, we're talking 1 or 2 rarities a year. So last year it was a Pacific golden plover, which decided to show up here on a dam north of Polokwane. And I thought, I mean, I just have to get this. So I was at school and I had to get off to school and try and see this bird. And I got there, and needless to say, I couldn't find it. So I walked around, we searched, couldn't find it. Anyway, the next day comes, the birders find it again, and I'm feeling a bit pathetic, and I decide to go out again and miss on the bird again.
Oh no.
So 2 double misses, and after that, the bird was never seen again. So I still do not have a Pacific golden plover, and I'm regretting that so much to this day.
Just claim that it was they were just stringers. Yeah. They just put it on the list. They didn't actually see it.
Definitely. So. No, I'm still going to go in depth to make sure that photo was taken there.
You got to be like SABAP2 and request photos as well.
You have to.
Yeah, cool. So I'm so grateful that I actually had the opportunity to talk to you, and I'm sure there's
It was
many,
super
many
fun. Yeah, thanks.
more questions to ask you. I'm sure we're going to have another podcast with you soon again.
No, that'd be great. Yeah.
And thank you once again for coming onto the show.
No, well, thanks so much, Chris. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to chatting again soon.
Cool. Have a good one, eh?
Awesome.
Once again, a big thank you to Daniel for the interview. It was so fun to do. Thank you so much for listening through right till the end of this podcast. Be sure to follow us on social media and to subscribe to us on your preferred podcast list.